Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, verse number 20, or maybe 20. We are 20 we saw last week, 21 we have to start. Or no, 19 we have to start, I think. How does it matter? कहीं से भी शुरू करो. 19, 20, 21, whatever. So we are here denying ignorance, that there is nothing called ignorance. That is the point that is being taken, because seekers, they are continuously obsessed with ignorance, that I am ignorant, I don't know, now I need to know. Here Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying ignorance itself is not there, so there is no question of removing ignorance. Okay? 19th verse, पडळ ही आथी डोळा आणि डोळा नव्हे आंधळा, तरी आथी या पोकळा बोलिया की. To say that one has cataract in the eye and yet one is not blind is senseless. Another example, इंधनाचे आंगी खवळलेनी आगी, ते न जळे तै वाहुगी शक्तीची ते. If the fire were not able to burn the wood, then the burning power is ineffective. If someone says that although the firewood has been put in the fire, it is not burning, it can only mean that the wood has not been put in the fire, or because the burning power of the fire is not expressed. These examples we have taken because that knowledge which illumines the ignorance cannot be called ignorance. So, therefore, ignorance never was, never will be, and in the future. So now, what did I say in meditation? What is the whole world? Whole world is nothing but aham and idam, or in other words, aham and na aham. But both are thoughts. Thought itself is ignorance. This is the original sin that we have committed. The original sin is the thought. See? So we are trying to dissolve that original sin. And what is this? It is not one sin. It appears as two. That is the original sin. Duality is the original sin. And what is the duality? Aham, na aham. Or how scriptures sometimes use the word aham, idam. See? And what is aham and idam? Both are thoughts. I is a thought. I am not, or this laptop, na aham, I am not the laptop, is also a thought. I am not the table is also a thought. I am not the universe is also a thought. Thought itself is an expression of ignorance. See? But what is the status of ignorance? It does not exist. So either you take the live in the world, I don't know, I know and I don't know. I am not. Or you live in this world that everything I am. But if you live in duality, you are asking for suffering. Either you reject everything and come to the I, or you include everything in the I and live. If you reject everything, you will be in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. If you include everything, you are a Mahatma. Who includes everything? Ishvara has included everything because he knows that everything is nothing but me only or self only. And he doesn't have to think. He knows it. Just like you know your consciousness. Nobody has to prove it to you. You know you are existing. Nobody can prove, but you know your eyes can see. Nobody needs to say anything. You also don't think that you are alive. Never that thought goes through your mind. You just know it. You're alive. Like that, the Ishvara knows that I am. And that includes the whole thing. But he knows that without a thought. Therefore, he is Ishvara. And that is so that is the point that is being illustrated, that the knowledge which illumines the ignorance cannot be called ignorance. So ignorance may be there, whatever is changing, whatever is coming and going, whatever is finite, whatever objectivity is there, it is an expression of ignorance, it is a phenomena, and we cannot stop the phenomena. But the one who knows the phenomena, is he a phenomena? The one who knows the phenomena of waking, dream and deep sleep, coming and going every day, is he a phenomena? Find out who is that fellow. Is that the waker who is listening right now? Who is this fellow who knows all the three? So we have to come back, that is coming back to base. When you are in waker, dreamer, sleeper, you are just getting shunted along. By involuntarily, these three states are coming and going. But which one are you? Only the waker? Or the witnessing consciousness? So this point is being put across through the four examples, that that one has cataract in the eye and yet one is not blind is senseless. If the fire were not able to burn the wood, then the burning power is ineffective. Then andhara kodoni ghari ghara pad sadhana kari tay adhara ihi akshari na manava ki. There is darkness in the room and there is no absence of light. Then do not call it darkness. If there is darkness in the room, but there is no absence of light, how can that be possible? It is possible only when you are the subjective self. You are inside the room, there is darkness in the room, but the one who is saying there is darkness, who is that observer? Eyes cannot see anything. Mind cannot. Darkness is not an object of cognition. It is just absence of everything. But who knows it? If one says that there is darkness in the house but nothing is hidden, then one has only to infer that the meaning of the word darkness has not been understood and the word has been used without any meaning. Such persons are called stupid. Such persons are called lunatic. Such persons are called they have lost their mind. If cat says that, then we can understand, because it can see in the dark. But you go into a dark room and say, I can see everything. Who are you making a fool of? Or if this is at a very general, there are people who have invoked that ability and they are able to do that. But in general, two more examples are given. Wo za wo ne di zagane te te taye ni de te ni the konvane divasa nani une tay ratri kaichi. How can we call it sleep where the experience of waking is intact? How can we call it night when the brightness of the day is present? How can we call that I am when the mind is still functioning? In the same vein, you think. How can we call sleep where the experience of waking is intact? Means you are making a fool of everyone around you. You are awake and you are saying that I am sleeping. This is what children do when they wake up in the morning. You can wake up a sleeping person, but a sleeping person who is faking sleep, you cannot wake him up. This is our state. We are faking sleep or we are faking awakeness. That I am the self. I know I am. But what do you know as yourself? As the body, as the personality, as the one who was born, as only the waker. Then you don't know. This is what it means here, if you connect it to the example. And how can we call it night when the brightness of the day is present? And if I am the self-illumined entity, then if I am that, then can the world exist for me? If there is dark light, if this light is there, can darkness exist in this room? Not possible. And what is darkness? Duality. What is darkness? Subject, object. What is darkness? Thoughts. Apply it to yourself. Wherever there is light, darkness is not possible. Have we discovered that we are of the nature of light? Have we discovered that we are of the nature of being the witnessing consciousness? Or are we still at the level, what I see, I believe? Whatever I think, I become. You can become a husband, you can become a widow, you can become a father, you can become a brother. But can you become self? Think. Think a little bit. Can you become self? Or you are already the self? Huh? This, when we think too much, we get entangled in thoughts, and when we take the world and the duality to be real, we are unable to come back to the original position that we are, the infinite self-illumined reality. From sun's point of view, there is no darkness. From light point of view, there is no darkness. From self point of view also, there is no darkness, because from self point of view, only self is. From divine point of view, only divine is. Have we come to that point where we can tal thokke, we can roar within, I alone am. Alak Niranjan. That is what it is. Alak Niranjan. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. This you come to realize without thought. Are we able to, have we come to that point? Or we are just lost and continuously thinking, why God is not gracing me? Why, what have I done wrong? Why my life is like this? Why, oh, all problems are coming in my life only? Why this, why that? Because you are not focused on the infinite. You are focused on duality or multiplicity. And we saw in Kathopanishad, the more you think of the world, the more you lose the plot. The more we think of the unifying principle, that is the self or the Lord, to that extent, all problems, all duality automatically dissolves itself. Just as when we think of the sleep, all the variety of the waking dissolves itself. Then what are you? Even while listening, are we being that unifying principle which is one without a second? Or are we, only because Swamiji is saying, only because we are reading Amrutanubhava, therefore we are on the spiritual path? Because I do japa, we are on the spiritual path. Because I do take shower in the morning, I do my puja, I light the lamp, I read the Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita, I attend satsangs every week, 3, 4, 5, whatever satsangs you are attending, therefore I am spiritual. Wrong conclusion. You are spiritual, spirit by nature. If all this study and interaction with the satsang is not leading to this conviction that by nature I am divine, then we are missing the point. If the experience of the waking state is intact and yet we say that there is sleep, can that be called sleep? No, it cannot be. Either one is awake or one is asleep. One cannot be both awake and asleep at the same time. Can it? You know, there is this girl Lavanya, and I went to her place and I said, when she was small, now she is 4-year-old, I think. But when she was 2.5, 3-year-old, and she's crying for something, I troubled her, and then I make her laugh, and then it became a game. And then I said, now we have to laugh and cry. So if she's crying, I am crying. Then she's laugh, I will laugh. If she smiles, I will smile. Then I started doing that and she started copying. And it became a game for us. For children, anything you can make into a game. And once that was done, then I said, okay, Lavanya, now we have to laugh and cry at the same time. And she's trying. Is it possible to laugh and cry at the same time? Same way, can light and darkness exist at the same time, in the same place? Same way, here it is told, can waking and sleep, can they both exist? Yes, in general they are existing, but in you, can you be awake and asleep at the same time? Not possible. Not possible. Come to this firm conclusion within yourself, that are you a thought or are you the witness of the thought? Come to this firm conclusion. Don't live in this loop of thinking. Similarly, one cannot say that it is night and yet it is bright as daylight. Just the opposite. Where there is darkness, there is no light. Having given these examples, the conclusion is drawn. Taisa atma ajnana asike asatato namuke तय अज्ञान शब्दा लटिके आलेच की. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, similarly, the word ignorance amounts to mere noise if, in spite of covering the Atma Tattva, has no influence on it. Just as smoke may cover the fire, but it cannot. Eventually, the smoke you can blow it away. Fire is still existing under the smoke. You can't see it, that's all. But fire is still there. The sun is covered by the clouds. You can't see the sun, but because of the sun alone, you are able to see the clouds. The self is as if covered by the duality, but duality is known by someone. Aham and idam are known by someone. Thoughts are known by someone. Waking, dream, and deep sleep are known by someone. Who is that? Can that fellow be covered? Can sun be covered by a teeny mini cloud? It's only as if. The first two examples I gave were outside, but when I give the example, can thoughts cover the infinite self that you are, the conscious self that you are? No, because at any given moment you are witnessing the thoughts coming and going. Be that. Be that. Don't be dependent on thoughts. Then dementia will not come. If you are dependent on thoughts, then dementia will come. But where you have completely disentangled from the thoughts, thoughts will come. Mind's job is to think. Let it think. You be a part. You be the witness. Similarly, the word ignorance amounts to mere noise. It is noise because ignorance is expressing as manasa vacha kaya. This is expression of ignorance. So, mental noise, uh, from mouth also nothing but noise is coming out. See? Amounts to mere noise. If in spite of covering the Atma Tattva has no influence on it. In spite, again coming back to the example I gave, the cloud in spite of covering the sun has no influence on the sun. The wave covering the water in spite of covering the water has no influence on water. Exactly the same way, body, breath, mind, intellect, the panchakoshas are, even though they seem to be covering the self when we take neti neti, not this, but they don't have the capacity to cover the infinite self that we essentially are, or I essentially am. It does not have the capacity. Hold on, come to this conclusion about yourself. Don't give in to the body, breath, mind, intellect. I'm comfortable, I'm uncomfortable, I have to sit only like this, I have to only lie down in the bed and listen to the lecture. I am at breath level, I am hungry and thirsty. At mind level, I don't like this, I don't like that. This is very difficult to understand, that is very easy to understand. This is going above my head. This is at mental level. Intellectual level, oh, this is very difficult concept. Are you a concept? We are not talking about concepts. Ignorance can be a concept. Self cannot be a concept. The one who knows ignorance which comes and goes. That cannot be a concept. Come to this correct assessment of ourselves. When we lack in this correct assessment, all problems begin. That's why we feel as if we are fish out of water. Something is missing, something is missing, something is missing. What is missing, I'm not able to pinpoint. When do we say something is missing, something is missing? When our attention is outside. Outside, when your attention is, something is always missing. It can never be perfect. World for an individual can never be perfect. For God, for Ishvara, it is always perfect. See, develop that vision. Develop that vision. And Jnaneshwar Maharaj, that vision has clicked. It's a grace, it's a revelation. And he's speaking about his revelation and giving words to it for our benefit. Don't get lost in the words. That's why he began with the chapter, words devalued. He devalued the word, still is speaking. Because from his point of view, nothing matters. He is established. Whether mind is thinking or not thinking. If it has to think, let it think like this. If it is thinking, let it, mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusra na koi, let it think like that. If it is thinking, let it take Ram, 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 Ram. If it is thinking, let it chant Vishnu Sahasranam or let it do its japa. Or let the mind be in silence. Mind will do something. Let it go on. The more we are clear about who we are, the mind will reciprocate. It will sort itself out. Mind sorts itself out only and only when you are not obsessed with the mind. Mind sorts itself out only and only when you do not give value and attention to the mind. What is the other way of putting it? Come to the correct assessment that you are the continuous, constant self. You are the light which is illuminating everything. Not only the thoughts and objects and these words, but also the waking dream and deep sleep. Also the God. If you can digest that. Because God, at this moment, you don't know who He is. For you, it is only a concept. It has a particular form. It has got certain abilities. But God says, I am alone expressing through your heart. Have you discovered Him? Has He revealed to you in the heart as the self? If He has not, till then, it is a concept for you. Concept for the mind, not you, mind. But you are not a concept. You are not coming and going. You are not coming and going. So every meditation you sit in, and if you come out of meditation naturally and still see, Arey, I am still here. The world is still there. The husband and wife are still there. The children are still, understand. Abhi click nahi hua. Still some things need to be, you have not come to the correct assessment of yourself. We are not trying to reject the world. You have not come to the correct assessment of yourself. In the same way, the Atma Tattva is covered by ignorance all around. Yet, the ignorance has no influence on the Atma. The Atma continues to be pure knowledge. The word ignorance is only a noise. It has no meaning. Just like absence, darkness is only noise. It has got no meaning. What is darkness? Absence of light is given a new word. What is called darkness? Objects are present. When objects are not present, a new word is given. Absence. Nothing. Nothing is not a thing. It is absence of things. So has absence become an object? This stupidity we have to drop. The word ignorance is only a noise. It has got no meaning. It does not indicate any object. Absence does not indicate any object. Void does not indicate any object. Nothingness does not indicate any object. Darkness does not indicate any object. Sleep does not indicate any object. See? So in Yoga Sutra they say Niruddha Mana, no mind. There is nothing called no mind. Mind means flow of thoughts. No mind. No, there is nothing called no mind. When the thoughts are there, it is called mind. When there are no thoughts, it is you. It is the self. Then what about sleep? What about coma? What about absence of thoughts? All that is just noise. You have imagined that there is something like that. There is nothing like that. You are always. So that opportunity is there. Either you get entangled in darkness, absence, ignorance, or when the last thought goes, you come and be the self when the last thought drops away. And therefore we keep telling you again and again, two windows of opportunity. When you go to sleep and you wake up. When you are sleeping, if you are aware, when the last thought dissolves out of your mind, you've got two choices. Either you go to sleep or you remain awake. If you are awake, you have come back to the self. But every night we are missing the opportunity. Why? Oh, I'm so exhausted. I need to wake up and I've got a whole day, very busy day tomorrow. I need to sleep. सोचो, जरा सोचिए. Think a little bit. Assess yourself correctly. It is only the jiva. Jiva is conditioned consciousness. It is only the jiva which accepts the existence of ignorance and gives it a reality. If jiva does not give reality to ignorance, he is Ishvara. Story over. At relative level, he is Ishvara. If he gives validity to ignorance, meaning duality, meaning subject and object relationship, then he is jiva. We just get lost by reading the stories of the Lord, this, that, he did this, he did that. You listen to Adhyatma Ramayana, the first chapter. It will give you full clarity as to what is the position of the divine. Here also it is told, there it is told through Sita ji is telling what is the status of Ram. Then follows the struggle to get out of the illusory ignorance. So once we have accepted that I don't know, even though you are of the nature of knowledge, Satchit Ananda Swarup, you are ever existing, all knowing, and ever happy. Now you have accepted that there is something called ignorance. How do you accept it? By being the subject and the object. When you accept duality, meaning when you accept that you are the mind where the duality is. And what is mind? Nothing but duality, subject object relationship. Once you accept that you are the mind, you have forgotten. You choose to not accept yourself as the eternal one, because thoughts are coming and going, and you think I am coming and going. If you want to put it in the big picture, the waking is coming and going, the dreamer is coming and going, the sleeper is coming and going. The nature of the mind, what it is the womb of thoughts. And what are those thoughts doing? They are coming and going. That itself is an expression of ignorance. And who are you who never comes and goes? Who is knowing, in whose presence all coming and going is taking place? And there begins the suffering. When you accept coming and going as the reality, suffering begins. Just now, when we were doing meditation, one phone call came. I did not pick it up, but so nobody rings me at that time in the morning. So I called them after the dhyan. Swamiji, what should I do when someone is passing away? I said, what happened? So the doctors have said, call your relatives, say your final goodbyes. What should I do? Why this misery? Why this entanglement? Why these emotions? It's okay, let the mind experience them. I told her something. Now, after the class, I have to go there to the hospital. See? This misery that we experience, it only comes because we have accepted the coming and going as real. I'm not just saying birth and death. Everything that is coming and going. Breath is coming and going. Thought is coming and going. Concepts are coming and going. Health is coming and going. People are coming and going. Day is coming and going. Day and night is coming and going. Everything that you know objectively is coming and going. And everything you can put into only two things, aham and idam. They are coming and going. As long as you take that to be the reality and associate with it, suffering will come. That is the nature of duality. Little bit joy, more suffering. And what do? We think of sleep and be free of suffering. What is the opportunity? While going to sleep, remain awake. Then it will not be temporary. Once and for everything will be cleared. How many different ways can we tell you? Even from the point of view of logic, it is impossible to accept the presence of ignorance in the self. Just as it is impossible to see from the sun's point of view that there is day and night, it is impossible to see from the gold point of view that there are ornaments. It is impossible to see from the water point of view that there are waves and oceans and tsunamis and tides and froth and droplets. Same way, it is impossible from the divine point of view, the spirit point of view, the self point of view, to see ignorance. एरवी तरी आत्मया माझी अज्ञान असावया कारण म्हणता न्याया चुकी येईल की. Even otherwise, it is not justified to say that ignorance exists in the Atma. Thus, when we think on the lines indicated in the above OVs, the possibility of the existence of ignorance in the Atma is inconceivable by any stretch of logic. Logically, darkness does not exist. Logically, absence does not exist. Logically, duality does not exist. Why stop there? Logically, there is nothing called mind. No, but I feel that the mind is continuous. Which mind are you talking about? The waking mind, the dream mind, or the sleep mind? Which mind are you talking about? No, I'm talking about that mind which knows that the waking, dream, and deep sleep are coming and going. That means you are not talking about the mind, you are talking about the self. Because mind by nature is nothing but self. Ornament by nature is nothing but gold. Wave by nature is nothing but water. This conundrum we have to solve. It can be solved only by coming back by making correct assessment. That's what we are doing here about ourselves. That we are the continuous one. We are the illumined one. We are by nature spirit, infinite, all knowing. But when we give value to thoughts, when we give value to mind, we forget the self. We accept ourselves as the mind. And what is the meaning of accepting the mind? Accepting the mind means accepting the thoughts. It is equal to I am the father, I am the mother, I am the sister, brother, etc. I am the waker, I am the dreamer, I am the sleeper. I am the body, I am the breath, I am the mind, I am the intellect. This wrong assessment becomes your norm and you forget the original one. And because you have accepted this and you are suffering, and you then say, now I have to become spiritual, I have to study scriptures, I have to attend satsangs. But you are already that, what you are seeking. The wave is already that which it is seeking, that is water. The ornament is already the gold which it is seeking. You are already that which you are seeking. Jnaneshwar Maharaj, it has clicked. It has revealed to him. And he is putting words to his revelation. Why? Because his Guru Maharaj asked him. He doesn't have an itch to speak. His Guru Maharaj, Nivrittinath, told him, speak about Bhagavad Gita. He spoke. Now he said, now you write about your experience of realization. He is writing. No personal will. Thus, when we think on the lines indicated in the above OVs, the possibility of the existence of ignorance in the Atma is inconceivable by any stretch of logic. It is impossible to accept the presence of ignorance in the self-effulgent Atma. It is impossible or unimaginable to see darkness in the sun. Exactly the same way. No, but are we not the mind? Again, you have accepted duality. अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारो. Yeah. That ignorance and Atman are incompatible and that they cannot coexist is stated from another angle. Can darkness and light exist at the same time, in the same place, in the same moment? Not possible. Equally true is the self and the ignorance. They cannot exist at the same time. So that means if duality is, if I am seeing everything as separate, if I am considering myself to be this body, then I am ignorant. Yes, welcome to the club. But what? When you are thinking of yourself as the body, then welcome to the club. If you have made the correct assessment and in spite of the body, breath, mind, intellect world, with the correct assessment, you come to yourself, then welcome to the realized club, enlightened club, enlightenment society. It's also a secret society. Many people are roaming around. They don't declare they are realized, but everyone is realized. They are behaving as if they are ignorant. Ajnanata, Ajnanatamamevali. What is that? Ajnanatamamevani. Atma ekashachi khani. Ata dohi melani. Eki kaisi. Ignorance is absolute darkness and Atma is the very source of light. How can they both exist? The moment this thought comes in front of me, I straight away go to sun. How can sun and darkness coexist? It cannot be possible, isn't it? From sun's point of view, there is nothing called darkness. From Atma point of view, there is nothing called ignorance. Then we have to develop a vision. We have to sort something about ourselves that we are able to accept the body, breath, mind, intellect, the whole world as the self alone. But we cannot think of the world and come to the self. You have to think of the self and be the self. Because when you think of the world, there is too much variety, it will hijack. So from manyness to the one, the unifying principle. What is the unifying principle? The self. Self alone. Water is unifying principle. Water is water. Water is water. But people may call it, man is man, but people may call him, he is the father, he is the son, he is the brother, he is the husband. But man is man. When you have accepted something else other as real, that's when we fall down. So when we have accepted that this body, breath, mind, intellect is real, then we have fallen down from being the self into the ignorant self. But what we are trying to tell you, what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, that this is not possible. Self can never fall. Self is all that there is. When we say the word self is all that there is, so is it the whole world? Do you ask this question when you wake up from the world, from the dream? Do you think, where has the whole world, dream world gone? Do you cry for the dream husband, the dream wife, the dream children, the dream house, the dream investments? Do you ever cry about it? Do you ever give a second thought to it? Do you become miserable because of it? Why? What do you say? Oh, it was just a figment of imagination. It was just a dream. This is what Mahatmas say about the waking also. Can you remember anything about your dream last night? Nothing. I can't remember. So when people come and ask us or ask Mahatmas, uh, uh, Swamiji, where were you born? I can't remember. How old are you? I can't remember. Which state you are from? I can't remember. What was the name that your parents gave you? I can't remember. It's not important. You can take it if you give it importance. If it is important for you, then you will come. I'll tell you. Then give a story. Then are we not being untruthful? To whom? To the person who does not know what to ask and not ask. To the untruth. Truth is only the self. The whole world is untruth in that sense. And you are being untruthful to the untruthful world. To the unreal world. What sin have you made? Nothing. Let it be. ड्रामा करो और निकल जाओ. अपने मन को शांत रखो. Or not even मन को शांत रखो. You be the self. Don't give too much value to these things. Ignorance is absolute darkness and Atma is the very source of light. How can they coexist? Ignorance is utter darkness. On the other hand, Atma Tattva is pure knowledge. See, from a logic point of view, we say ignorance is utter darkness. From God point of view, we don't say it is ignorance. We say it is Maya. Maya is potentiality. And potentiality is part and parcel of the Ishvara. That's how we began with the first chapter in Amrutanubhava. Shiva Shakti Samavesh. That Parama Shiva alone is expressing as Shiva and Shakti. So do you see mind as an issue, as a problem, as a objective? Or are you taking the position that you are the self? Then potentiality is not a problem. Potentiality, mind, ignorance is only problem when you are caught up in the expression of ignorance. When you have moved away from the self to not self and taken not self to be real, that's when the problems begin. That's when the shunting begins. That's when the cyclical life begins. How many more ways? These words of Jnaneshwar Maharaj are all triggers. See? Ignorance is utter darkness. On the other hand, Atma Tattva is pure knowledge, brilliant and bright. How is it ever possible that these two things, which are exactly opposite of each other, exist together? How can they exist together? Two opposing nature. Who are you made up of? What are you made up of? I'm asking. In the light of this statement, what are you made up of? Consciousness plus matter. What is the nature of consciousness? Satchidanand Swarup. What is the nature of matter? Coming and going. Ignorant. temporary, finite. How can these two of opposing nature get married? And that's what you consider yourself to be. No, I am a conscious matter. That's what you are. You think you are matter also, which is body, breath, mind, intellect, and you think you are consciousness also. Isn't it? That you are living also. How can these two things of opposing nature come together? Some error is there in our assessment. Either you separate them because hey, two, either I consider myself to be the matter and then I don't matter to the world, or I consider myself to be consciousness and I become the master of matter. That I am not influenced by matter. Then I am Ishvara. And from Ishvara Advaya Vad, Kashmiri Shaivism point of view, I am all. The nature of matter is phenomenal. Potentiality, Shakti expresses only as a phenomena. It's a constant phenomena. Yes, you can put it that way. The constancy is in the phenomena. Whereas the Purusha Tattva or the Atma Tattva or the Ishvara Tattva or the Sakshi Tattva, Sakshi is ever constant, unaffected by the flux of the Shakti, by the flux of the mind, by the flux of the Prakriti, by the flux of the matter. He is not affected. If the spirit is affected by the flux of the matter, then he is called individual. If the spirit is unaffected by the flux of matter, then he is called he is in samadhi. When the spirit considers that he alone is in spite of the matter, then he is Ishvara. And when spirit is abiding in the spirit as the spirit, then that is a realization. Then that is Jivan Mukti. How many more ways I can explain? I'm running out of words. See? And that's what we are by essentially. This incompatibility of ignorance and the self-effulgent self to exist together ever is brought out with several vivid examples in the following 4 OVs. Now, what I just told you, how spirit and matter can never be together, how the self and the not self can never be together. It is not possible. From self point of view, there is nothing called not self. From sun's point of view, there is nothing called darkness. From gold point of view, there is nothing called ornament. This angle of approach is being taken now to deny ignorance, to deny duality, to deny the not self, to deny the changing. That which is changing is never existing in the first place. That which is changing, the waves, are never existing. It's an optical illusion. You're touching, tasting, feeling water, but you're calling it a wave. Are you stupid or what? Then where are you obsessed? You're obsessed with form. You're not obsessed with the constant principle. Now come to yourself. Are you attentive of the constant principle within you, or are you attentive of the changing principle within you? Changing principle is the mind, the thoughts, the ideas, the waking, dream, sleep, yesterday, today, tomorrow, past, future, the roles that you are playing, the world that is presenting in front of you. Sabotage. This is called suicide every moment. If we think of the world, we are committing suicide every moment. If we consider we are a thinking person, intellectual person, we are committing suicide every moment. But through this uh, whole thinking process that is we are involved in at this moment, if we can fall back and be the unchanging one, for a moment only you touch it, that I am the witness, I am the constant one. That very moment, everything will become integrated. All fear will go out of your system. The vision will transform. If vision transforms, the experience of the world will also transform. You will see the self everywhere. It's just a way of speaking. You will see self everywhere. Self is everywhere. Gold is everywhere. But gold will see itself in all ornaments. It's just a way of speaking to communicate some principle. Not some, the principle of constancy. स्वप्न आणि जागर आठव आणि विसर ये युग्मे एकाहार चालती जरी. If the pairs of dream and waking state, that of remembering and forgetting, exist simultaneously, is it possible for the dream and waking states to exist together simultaneously? Or is it possible for remembrance and forgetfulness to exist together simultaneously in the same simultaneously in the same mind at the same moment? When you want to exist as a waking and sleep simultaneously, that is called Shambhavi Mudra. Half open eyes. It's not possible. शीतातप एकवट वाहे वस्तीची वाट कातमे बांधिजे मोठ सूर्य रश्मीची. Same examples which I had taken before, they are coming again. If it is not possible for heat and cold to exist together, or the sun rays to be tied together in a bundle by the rope of darkness, नाना राती आणि दिवो येती एके ठाई राहो ते आत्मा जीवे जीवो अज्ञानाचेनी. Or if the day and night can be together, then only ignorance can exist in Atma. If all these examples which are taken, if that is possible, then ignorance can exist in Atma. If none of these is possible, or even one of them is not possible, then ignorance cannot exist in Atma. You are the Atma, so stop your obsession about that I am ignorant about the self. Stop this ranting. Yeah, I don't know myself. Swamiji, this, that. Forget it. All that is just getting attention. That's all. It's an ego trip. Anyone who wants attention, it is an ego trip. Sant Jnaneshwara is still not satisfied, so he gives yet another example to drive the point home. He aso mrityu ani zine ye shobhati kaya me hune tari atmeni asane ajnane si. Or can life and death exist together as a couple? Then alone can the ignorance exist in the Atman. Is it possible for the couple of life and death, husband and wife and husband, whichever way you put it, to stay together happily in the same place? Or if this were possible, can one accept the possibility of ignorance staying in the Atma Tattva? The only way husband and wife can come together living happily ever after is when they discover that they are both one. That means they go beyond the body identification. Or the husband is surrendered to the Devi, which is nothing but the self, and the wife is surrendered to the divine, which is none other than the self in the man. Then alone it is a happy relationship. But very rare. Is it possible for the couple of life and death to stay together happily in the same place? Or if this were possible, can one accept the possibility of ignorance staying in the Atman Tattva? It is not possible. When husband and wife at a worldly level, when husband and wife have recognized that they are both of the nature of self, then the differences vanish. When the two waves have recognized that they are nothing but water, then competition, comparison stops. When the statue of Ram and statue of Ravana discover they are both gold, they become friends. Who was Ram always knew that Ravan is none other than the self that he is. But Ravana was having problem. But with the last breath, he realized that he is not other than the Ram. He merged into Ram. Fight stopped. So what is keeping us separate from each other? Our ego. But there is nothing called ego. So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj is beckoning us. Come back to being the self. Understand this self is the substratum of everything. It is the foundation of everything. On this foundation, all the bubbles of thoughts are coming and going. But those bubbles are also, what is the material out of which the bubble of thought or the wave of thought is made? That is also consciousness alone, self alone. Just as the wave on the ocean is nothing, on the waters is nothing but water. The form of gold is nothing but gold. The form of thought is nothing but thought. The form of body is nothing but the self. The form of the world with all its variety is nothing but the self that I am. The theme is now concluded. Aho atmeni ze badhe तेची आत्मेनसी नांदे ऐसी कायसी विरुद्धे बोलणी येथे. Oh, my dear one, why make such a contradictory statement that the ignorance which is destroyed by the self-knowledge is present in the self? Hey Maharaj, how can that which is negated in the knowledge of the pure self exist in the Atman, the pure self? Avidya is destroyed in the presence of the Atma Tattva. That is, the moment one comes to discover one's own essential nature. Such being the case, why make such meaningless statements which are only self cancelling? And this is what we are doing all the time. If you call someone, yesterday, I said, after a long time we had the Adhyatma Ramayana in someone's house, so few people came. Hari Om Mahatma ji. नहीं नहीं स्वामी जी, you are Mahatma, we are not Mahatma. मरो फिर हमें क्या है? This is self-cancelling. This is self-sabotage. It is not I am self, I am self, I am self and declaring it to the world. No, you have to know it within. And from being the self, let the equipment, the world function itself. When you are the self, then you will not say I am the body also. I am the self also, I am the body also. Then contradiction again. I am light also, I am darkness also. अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारने वाली बात हो गई. You are digging your own grave. Either exclude everything or include everything. Those are the only two options you have. Exclude everything and be the witness. Include everything and be happy. Where exclude everything from the self that you are, or include everything in the self you are. Assessment should be in that manner, that you are beyond exclusion and inclusion. But at relative level, from sadhana point of view, as long as you are thinking you are someone, then exclusion, inclusion becomes valid. But here we are going beyond exclusion, inclusion, beyond all opposites. If you accept any opposite as real, that is self-sabotage. You are cancelling yourself. Such being the case, why make such meaningless statements which are only self-cancelling? Atma cannot be the substratum of ignorance, not because it cannot, but because ignorance does not exist. Because there is light, there is darkness. Okay. On the earth, there is day and there is night. These are coexisting. They cannot exist at the same time, at the same place, in the same moment. So when the day is there, then the night is there. Then the night is there, then the day is not there. But what about sun? It is beyond both light and no light, day and night. Is there a total night? There is an individual day which is inclusive of day and night, 24 hours. Is there like we are saying individual and total, individual jiva and total Ishvara. So is there a total darkness? Is there a total light? Think. From sun's point of view, light has got no meaning and darkness has got no meaning. Similarly, from self point of view, I has no meaning and not I has got no meaning. Both are expressions of ignorance, and from self point of view, ignorance has no meaning. From Ishvara's point of view, that ignorance is given the name Maya Shakti and he includes it in himself. And he is the master of that phenomena. From individual point of view, we are under the clutches of the phenomena. Therefore, we have lost the plot. We have to reclaim who we are. How do you reclaim? By thinking about it. by contemplating on it, by being it. As long as you think you are the body, the only thing you will keep thinking is, I have to do yoga to realize the self. While doing it, suddenly someday it will click. Oh, I am also a breathing fellow. Then you will start doing pranayam to know the self. Through pranayam, the mind will become quiet. Then you will come to know, I am the mind also. Okay, then I have to do something with the mind to be the self. Where is your attention? Is it on the world? Is it on the body? Is it on the breath? Is it on the mind? Or is it on you are attentive of yourself without a thought? Atma cannot be the substratum of ignorance, not because it cannot, but because ignorance does not exist. So, therefore, when we temporarily use these statements that the witnessing, who are you? You are the one who is the knower of waking, dream, and deep sleep. Many times we have used it, no? We are taking you beyond that now. Deep sleep is not, waking and dream are the effects of deep sleep. Deep sleep is the cause, waking and dream are the effect. And now we are saying that deep sleep करके कोई organism नहीं है. There is nothing called deep sleep. Because how can there be something called deep sleep which is coming and going? That is ignorance. That is how we say it, no? But deep sleep means what? Absence of waking and dream. In absence of all objectivity, what is there? Only self. Absence is not an object. Nothingness is not an object. So now apply it to yourself. When you are on the seat of meditation, when all thoughts of objectifying the self have quietened down, then only self is. Self is always. But many people, no, when mind is becoming quiet, we fall asleep. Why samadhi is not happening? Why are we falling asleep? I don't know where I was in my meditation. Then you were sleeping. No, but my body was straight. My head was, when I came out of meditation, my body was upset. You have trained yourself very well. गधा भी खड़े होके सोता है. Huh? We are the donkeys who are sitting and fooling ourselves in meditation because we don't know where we are. If you don't know where you are, you are gone to sleep. You have perfected the art and you think you are in meditation. But it is not easy to drop the dependence on ignorance for those who live in the realm of ignorance. Realm of ignorance, those who are living in the realm of waking, dream, deep sleep, those who are living in the realm of the mind of thoughts, those who are living in the realm of ignorance, the body consciousness that I'm a breathing person, I'm a thinking person, this is still okay. You can do something. But those who are only living, I'm the husband, I'm the wife, I'm the brother, I'm the sister, I'm this, I'm that, there's no hope then from there. Very difficult. Because for them, the world is more real. And their assessment of themselves with reference to the world that they have accepted as real. Coming closer from that, body, breath, mind, intellect. So reference point from the world and the objects of the world has changed to the body, breath, body, then breath, then mind, then thoughts. Then there is some, you're coming within, you're coming closer to yourself. As such, I'm just talking about the relative journey. You're always the self. But that's what Swamiji is saying here, that but it is not easy to drop the dependence, the reference point. Dependence is the reference point. Dependence means I am wife because of my husband. This is a dependence. So what is the reference point? The man is the reference point whom you have accepted as husband, and based on that you are accepting yourself as wife, and you forget that you are the woman. See, you are understanding the thinking process here? But it is not easy to drop this dependence on ignorance for those who live in the realm of ignorance. It is with the support of ignorance that they justify the value they give to the plurality, etc., karma kanda, etc. So based on thoughts, based on memories, based on ancestry, based on we are from Brahman or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra, based on which village they come from, based from which temple they belong to, based on which guru they belong to. So what is happening? They are giving value to something, except other than themselves, they are giving value to something. And that leads to a bit of error within the mind, corruption. And then they will do, then when you have accepted something, your identity based upon something else. I am a Shaivite, I am a Vaishnavite, I am a Baha'i, I am a Christian, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a waker, I am a dreamer, I am a husband, I am a wife. The principle is the same. For all these points that I made, there is a reference point. The moment you have accepted the reference point means you have become dependent. And that dependency will entangle you. It will not allow you to come back to the original. It is with the support of ignorance that they justify the value they give to the plurality. And it is. Is it not that a wife's duty is to take care of the family and nourish the family, and if I don't do the duties of the wife or duties of the husband or duties of the sannyasi or duties of the mother, am I not doing adharma? Again, dharma, adharma are opposites. They are coexisting, but they can never coexist. Where there is dharma, there is no adharma. Where there is light, there is no darkness. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amrutam gamaya. You have to go beyond. When we say tamasoma jyotirgamaya, it doesn't mean go from darkness to light. You go to that light from whose point there is no light and darkness. That is the sun. Based on previous chapter, asatoma sadgamaya, you go to that sat, continuous existence, from whose point of view there is nothing called a sat asat. Remember, we use the word Satchidanand only to cancel asat, achit and dukkham. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. You go from life and death, you go to that Amrita Tattva, the immortality, from where birth and death have got no meaning. To whom? To you. Because you have recognized that I am the continuous one. And how you have recognized this? Without a thought. This is the only way we can explain. Amrutanubhava tries to remove this crippling attitude by destroying the very support of man's misery, namely ignorance. So, ignorance expresses as relationships. So, Amrutanubhava destroys all relationships. What is the first relationship? Subject object relationship has to be broken. When you are at the mental level, subject and object relationship seems valid. But when you recognize that you are the eternal subject, then subject and object have got no meaning. Because subject and object appear in the mind as thoughts. But when you have accepted with correct assessment that you are the eternal subject, then this phenomenal subject and object, they have got no meaning. They die their own death. They die their own death. And there's nothing to be emotional about this. When you come back to yourself, you will be madly in love with everything that is there, because everything is self. And self is of the nature of unconditional love. This is growth. This is maturity. This is wisdom. So, to the continuing insistence by the ignorant that ignorance is, Sant Jnaneshwara responds first by arguing in their favor and then by refuting that argument. And 31st verse onwards, we'll look at it next time. So, read it again. I think you all have the books, or listen to the exposition that has been made. You will be free once and for all. Because that is our nature. Not because we want freedom, we are recognizing that we are and will be ever free, because our nature is freedom. Even if I use that word freedom or not. Entanglement is not possible. Referential existence is not possible. Referential existence leads to specific personality. And you are not a specific person. You are the infinite one. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. हरिओम हरिओम
हरिओम स्वामी जी.
हरिओम
हरिओम स्वामी जी.
हरिओम स्वामी जी.